Yesterday we worked on readers understand the characters and text by visualizing characters and events. Well, today we're going to work on readers understand the characters and text by visualizing scenes. That's a lot more fun than just visualizing the character, because with the scene you get to think about everything, so it's really like a movie. You get to put everything that's going on, not just focus on the character. You're going to focus on everything that you hear. So I'm going to reread part of the text from yesterday, and you're going to get a mental image of what's going on. You're going to make a mind movie. Your mind movie should have all 5 senses, right? So you need to be, and remember, a couple of them are harder than others. You need to really be thinking about this, the sense of smell and the sense of touch, or what you might feel as you listen, okay? I'm going to read it. I want you just to listen the first time, and then the second time you're going to be really focusing and making a mind movie. "I see him coming!" shouted the captain. Libby looked up at the trailhead and saw a group of men spilling from the trees. In the center, 4 of them carried a stretcher at a trot. Soon other men fanned out into the clearing, running and shouting. Libby ran to meet them. "Josh!" she screamed, crowding in beside the moving stretcher. She barely recognized him. His face was scraped and swollen and covered with dirt, and his eyes were closed. The captain caught up to her and pulled her away. "We have to keep out of their way," he said. She grabbed desperately for the stretcher, but he held her. "Please," he said. "That's my baby! That's my baby!" she cried, twisting out of his grip. She ran to where the group was loading Josh on the helicopter. "I'm going with him," she screamed. Okay, so now you kind of remember the part. I'm going to read it again, and I want you to get really good visual. So one thing that I want you to understand is often you have to reread parts, especially if you're not really understanding it, and get a good mental movie in your head. I'm going to read it again. Remember, I want you to have all 5 senses, so be thinking about the ones that maybe you're kind of still struggling with. How could you fit that sense in to make this movie seem more real? "I see him coming!" shouted the captain. Libby looked up at the trailhead and saw a group of men spilling from the trees. In the center, 4 of them carried a stretcher at a trot. Soon other men fanned out into the clearing, running and shouting. Libby ran to meet them. "Josh!" she screamed, crowding in beside the moving stretcher. She barely recognized him. His face was scraped and swollen and covered with dirt, and his eyes were closed. The captain caught up to her and pulled her away. "We have to keep out of their way," he said. She grabbed desperately for the stretcher, but he held her. "Please," he said. "That's my baby! That's my baby!" she cried, twisting out of his grip. She ran to where the group was loading Josh on the helicopter. "I'm going with him!" she screamed. Need a knee. Hunter, I need you to wait for directions. 1, give me a thumb. 2, you're going to give your mind movie first. Partner 1, you're listening to see if they include all 5 senses. And I'll tell you when it's time to switch. If you don't have time to finish, you're just going to stop and let the other partner go, okay? Go ahead and start.
I saw it. I could see them running from the trees, and then I felt the captain pull her back. I felt him I felt her ripping him out.
I could see how Mrs. Glenn was trying to grab for the stretcher. I could see how she was trying to feel for Josh.
Switch.
I could see these men running out of the bushes in the dark. I could hear their feet. I could hear the screams. I could hear the rotor blades on the helicopter spinning. And I could feel Libby's pain and also Josh's. And I could helicopter, and I could feel Josh's pain, and I could see how bad Josh's face looked.
What can you taste?
Okay, back to me. I heard some really good things. I heard sounds. I heard you talking about the running feet, the helicopter blades spinning, the noises that you heard, maybe the air blowing from that, maybe the smell of the fuel from the helicopter. You did a good job. It's a lot more interesting and fun to focus on the whole scene and not just the character. When you do that, you really have a full mental image of what's going on, and that helps you better understand the character if you're listening to everything that's going on. So today as you're reading, you're going to write down visualizing scenes. You're going to pick one scene from your own book that you really like. You're going to reread it, and you're going to make a movie so that your partner knows exactly what's going on even though they're not reading the same book. So you're going to include how many senses?
5.
5 senses. And when we meet to share today, your partner is going to understand that part because you're going to tell them the movie that you saw in your head when you was reading it. So my suggestion is start reading, find a part that you really like, reread it a couple of times like I did, and then write down that mind movie so when it's time to share, your partner can go, whoa, I was right there. Okay? Anyone have questions? All right, off you go.